Guys, welcome to the Caring for Creatures show. It's Jerry Miller. It's good to be with you on the I Love Seaville network. It is gorgeous outside in Charlottesville and across Central Virginia. And I'll tell you what, I'm already high energy, but when it's 70 degrees and beautiful, it takes it to a completely different level. I just feel the energy radiating across Charlottesville and Central Virginia today, and I feed off that energy, and I certainly feed off that energy when we do the Caring for Creatures show. Central Virginia's first no-kill animal sanctuary, Mary Birkholz, this is her baby. She is the president and the founder, and she has a key team and volunteers that help keep CFC going and heading in the right direction. We're going to spotlight two of them, and Mallory Luttrell and Gabriella Payne here on the Caring for Creatures show. It's Harris Tolbert, Judah Wickower, and Lauren Linsky that help make the program possible. Mary and I feel like, have the easy job. We come in here and we talk about what we love, what we like.
Animals,
right. These guys keep us on air. So
they make us look good.
They make us look good, and we're truly grateful for them. Let's go to the studio cam, and let's welcome everybody to the set. And I'm going to get out of the way. Before we welcome Gabriella and Mallory, we're going to talk with Mary about what has transpired at Caring for Creatures over the last week, Mary.
Okay. First of all, I need to remind everyone that our Greenberries campaign, the almond brittle latte, it's not much longer that you have to get it. Perfect weather to go get one and sit outside and watch people.
That's
watch
true.
animals. That's the perfect thing to do over at Greenberries. So to the end of the month, buy one, and they're donating the entire cost of your drink to us. So
I love it.
We really, really need it. We also launched Power of 10. Power of 10 is a fundraising campaign that's going through the end of April.
Okay.
And the Power of 10 is, the thought of it or the idea of it is $10. And I get people who send us $10 gifts on a regular basis and in the mail. And they always put a note with it that says, I wish it could be more. And I always want to tell them, $10 is wonderful. If that's what your budget allows, we are grateful. And if 100 people give $10, look at what we can do. So we want to emphasize the power of 10. If your budget allows greater than that, hey, that's great too. But the power of 10 through the end of April, we can buy food, a lot of medical stuff going on right now at Caring for Creatures. So we'll put it to very good use. One more thing.
Sure.
$30, our adoption fee special. We have extended because it's our 30th anniversary this year.
Cool.
So we've extended $30 adoption fee for cats and senior animals all the way through the end of this year.
I love it. We're seeing Star and Valerie on screen.
Yes.
As we speak.
Yes.
Some of the wonderful animals at Caring for Creatures. This is really important to emphasize. This is Central Virginia's first no-kill animal sanctuary, based in Fluvanna County, but servicing, can I say servicing the entire eastern seaboard? Do I say servicing
Absolutely.
the country?
We take animals
from everywhere.
A lot of places. Yeah, everywhere. We regularly have dogs and some cats come up from South Carolina.
Right.
We've taken all up and down the East Coast.
Love it.
A lot of it is related to our kitties, the leukemia and FIV positive cats. We're one of a handful of facilities that provides ongoing care for those cats. So we get a waiting list of vets and shelters and
because you're one of the few options.
Right.
Yeah.
And these cats are wonderful, and they are worthy of our help. They're worthy of our resources, and they have some special needs. But you know what? Sometimes they're some of the favorite cats of visitors when they come to the sanctuary.
I love it.
They go sit in the room and they'll just have 10 or, well, Mallory knows because Mallory takes people in those rooms all the time. And they'll sit down, and volunteers especially, they sit in there, the cats just come, those that are, comfortable doing so, but you might have 10 cats surrounding you.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Harris Tolbert, turn the what's going on at CFC into a sizzle reel. Did you have one more item in your notebook that you wanted to highlight? Okay. So
I don't think so.
I think we should spotlight Gabriella and Mallory. Show is yours.
Yes. Okay. Our two guests today, we're going back to felines this week. And Mallory Luttrell is a Caring for Creatures adoption counselor. She's been working with the sanctuary for a year. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about what she does, but we also have Gabriella Payne. And Gabriella adopted a special needs cat from us, and it's a very interesting story. And she went through quite the process in making a selection of a kitty, and that's what we're all about. So I think maybe Mallory can kind of give us a baseline of how she approaches adoptions. And today we're just focusing on cats.
Okay. So jump in here, Mallory. Show's yours.
Yeah, so I handle adoptions at Caring for Creatures, and quite honestly, it's not the only thing I do there, but it's my favorite thing that I do there. There's nothing better to me than connecting an animal in need with a person also in need. And especially today for this show, that's exactly what happened with Gabriella and Finny/Yeti. He was Yeti to us. He's now Finian to Gabriella and us as well. So if we say Yeti, Finny, all the same cat.
Okay.
But yeah. So
got an alter ego?
Yes, he does.
Okay. I like it. A pseudonym, if you may.
Yes. So it's a long process oftentimes, not only for us, but also the adopters. And Gabriella is a perfect example of that. She really wanted to make sure that she made the right decision. And they came out several times to visit the sanctuary, and we encourage that. We want people to make the right choice for themselves, and also the animal. We're all about the match. We're not about pushing animals out the door. We're about making sure that...
Sustainable.
Exactly. We want it to be a lifelong fit for everybody. And, so that's really our main focus, and that's what we're looking for when we're reviewing applications. And oftentimes it'll take me several days to review an application, and a lot goes into it. We're looking for what kind of lifestyle does this person have? Will it fit with that animal? And, if not, who might it work with? Like, what animal might it work with? So, we go through that, and it also requires a lot of conversations. I'm always pulling Mary aside and asking her, okay, so this is what we have here. What do we think? And, do we think this is the right fit? Or maybe this is the right fit? So there's so much that goes into it behind the scenes.
And there's other staff too.
Exactly,
our animal care staff gets involved because, we have 150 some cats.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And so the animal care staff is working with these cats every day. So both Mallory and I are sometimes look at each other and go, go ask so-and-so or go ask this person, that person. Everybody gets together. Yeah.
I pull our vet techs, Heather and Kristen, aside constantly, and I'm like, all right, tell me which cats, like which ones. I'm thinking these ones. What are you guys thinking? It's really a team effort. Yeah. We do everything we can to, bounce ideas off of each other and, just listening to each other and getting other input and everything when it comes to finding the right placement. Now, ultimately, it's up to the adopter coming out and visiting the animals and really seeing what that connection's about in person, because you just never know, and there might be someone completely different in the room that was not on our radar that they just connect with, and it oftentimes those work out perfectly too. Like there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes as far as adoptions go.
I love it. Sandy Van Nostrand says, teamwork to make the dream work.
Exactly.
Yes. Sandy, you're right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sandy, for offering the first-hand perspective. Harris, turn that answer into sizzle reel for us and call it a adoption perspective. And we're going to get Gabriella Payne in the mix here. This is what I'm curious about. I'm curious about, you have adopted a special needs cat.
Yes, I have.
Okay, so I'm going to throw a handful of questions to you. And guys, give the show a like and a share for us. That's how we keep the spotlight on CFC, by liking and sharing the show. Question 1 is, what exactly is a special needs cat? Question 2 is, why did you choose to adopt a special needs cat as opposed to a cat that was not special needs? And then question 3, and yes, I am bombarding you with questions. Question 3 is what the experience has been like firsthand, anecdotally, of a special needs cat in your life.
Well, for the first question, a special needs cat, in my opinion, is a cat that has some disability that makes life a bit harder for them. Like, they're deaf, so they can't hear very well. They're blind, so they can't see and maybe it could be a disease like leukemia, which they will sadly live with, or FIV, which is the feline form of HIV.
Sure.
And sorry, what was the second question?
The second question is like, why did you choose to do it, and what the firsthand perspective has been like with having a special needs cat?
The why of it is
you got a big heart, don't you?
Yeah. The special needs cats, from what I've heard, are very hard to get adopted because people don't want a cat that's got this little quirk to them. They don't want to put in more work. They just want a cute cat that they can cuddle with. And sometimes people only see the disabilities, which is really sad for me because I am actually, I've got a disability known as autism. So that makes life a little hard for me. But I am a normal person. I'm high functioning. I love life. I love cats. I love cats so much. So I wanted to give a cat the opportunity. Like, I didn't care about their disability. I just wanted a forever friend, a part of my family. And the experience, actually, he is not that different from a cat that can hear. He is deaf. Mr. Finian is deaf. But he acts like he can hear just fine. He meows like a normal cat. He plays like a normal cat. He knows when it's time to eat, which is, he yells at me, Mom, food.
It's awesome.
He knows.
That is absolutely awesome. So you felt compelled to offer a level of quality of life that he otherwise was not receiving.
Yes.
And that's a testament to your character and your being a big-hearted person, which I want to celebrate and champion here. Why do you think that, this is a tough question.
Okay.
Oftentimes I feel like, and when you're going to make an adoption, you may see that like, oh, that's an older dog. Or that dog, in some cases, that dog has an injury. Maybe it's a three-legged dog, or maybe it's a dog that is a breed that is perceived to be scary breed, like the pit bull scary breed that has been stigmatized, which is the furthest thing from the truth when it comes to pit bulls.
Yeah,
They're teddy bears.
So sweet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're so sweet. They're so smart. Where I'm going with this is like, how do we like start to debunk the stigma of special needs animals with the adoption process?
That is a tough question.
I mean, is it like, and Mary, I'll get you involved.
Yeah,
Is it by telling these stories?
Absolutely. And I think, number one, you have to approach the process and be open. And I feel as though, and we hear it from other cat adopters, because we have so many cats, they get there and they go, oh my God.
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming.
Yes.
And I know Mallory, which is why she goes and does the homework and narrows it down for someone. And she got a feel for what Gabrielle was looking for in a companion. And a lot of animals who might have perceived disabilities can fulfill the needs of the human just fine. There's really no issue.
Put that in perspective.
And, well, I think in the case of Finian, he cannot hear, and yet he feels, he knows. And I've always, of course, you know me, that's my thing with animals.
Sure.
They know things that you've
sense.
seen
Yes.
it. They just know.
Yeah.
They intuit. They sense. They're more connected
Sure.
to that aspect of human. So as a result, they connect with that aspect of the human that's within them. And it's a bonding situation.
And oftentimes when one of the senses, we're talking hearing here, when one of the senses is lost, the other senses are strengthened. So
Absolutely.
you get a more robust or more well-rounded or well-skill-setted animal in other regards than, say, the average animal.
Right. And I want, if you're comfortable with it, I want
sure.
Gabrielle to share with folks that Finny travels with her to college.
Ooh.
He does.
And he's, from what I understand, you have to share that story. He's quite the celebrity.
yes.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So where I live in the dorms on campus at Hollins University,
Okay.
I live right across from the laundry rooms. And Finny likes to sit up in the window and just stare out at people. And one day I overheard some kids talking about the white cat in the window. And I'm like, oh, oh, that's my Finian. So I decided to put up a sign saying, hi, I'm Finian. And people talk about it so much. And sometimes people will come over to my room and ask to pet him, and he will just love on them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's
And
friendly?
Yes.
He is very friendly.
Yeah?
He will love
Yeah.
on you.
I love it. So we got a feline legend at Hollins University right now.
I mean, not only there, when
Yeah.
he was at Caring
Yeah.
for Creatures,
Yeah.
everybody loved him. He was in a special spot because we have this area in our T&E building, training and education building, that is for a cat to have his own space, away from all the other cats. And it's not because Finney did not like other cats.
No.
It's because when he first got there, he was not neutered, and he had a smell about him, and the other cats in that room wanted to be dominant over him and beat him up a bit.
Yeah.
So after that, we kind of decided he needed his own space, and everyone would go in there and visit him. Dog volunteers, cat volunteers, obviously, but the adoption day for Finney was just magical at Caring for
It was
Creatures.
amazing.
It was really one of my favorite ones. It was one, I'd only been there a few months when we made this connection, and I had people coming up giving treats that were like Finney's favorite, and everyone just wanting to say goodbye to him and wish him well, and just see who was, giving him a good home. So it was a really, really special, awesome day. And he was just, out of really all the cats I've adopted, I think that he was kind of, I don't want to tell everyone this, he was kind of top. Like, everyone was like, that was a big day at Caring for Creatures
This
when
is
Finney
pulling
went
on
home.
your heartstrings right
Well,
now.
when she
Why
was-
is this pulling on your heartstrings?
You're making it worse by pointing it out. But no, these when she was talking about why she wanted a special needs animal, I related to that because I have my own special needs animal.
Do you want the mini Finny?
And it is sad that people
Disregard.
will bypass them because of their special needs. When I think, I don't even see my dog's special needs. Like, she has them, but, they're not there. I don't see them. I don't pity her for them. We'll get through it. We're going to, make it better and all of that. So it's really just about that connection. I knew this was going to happen today. but yeah, so it's special that she has her own disabilities, and that's why she chose Yeti. And it was very apparent when they came. I had a whole list of cats for them to meet that day. One was actually a 3-legged, like 25-pound cat.
Mr. Pumbaa.
Yes,
Yeah.
Pumbaa.
That's a big cat right there.
Yeah,
he was big.
It's like a bobcat.
He was big. And, so we went around and we spent a lot of time meeting all the cats, and Finney was the first one that we met, and I could tell right then and there that there was a connection immediately between them. And we went around, and, Gabriella's a huge cat person, so she loved everybody, but she wanted to go back and see him, and it was obvious. And they actually came out, I believe you guys came out about 3 times.
Probably,
I think so. And the one time, so they actually, this was a new request, especially for me. I don't know if it's never happened before, but they wanted to bring their Chihuahua, May, with them. So I was like, do we do this? and yeah, so we arranged it, and it went fantastic. We're in Yeti's little space, and May's there, and they're all playing. It was so great. It went so well, and it just kind of made it obvious that this was the right match for everybody, because we knew that Finney was going to be going back and forth between college and home and all of that. So we had to make sure that May was on board with that, and she was. So yeah, everything worked out in that regard.
So, I'm going to throw it to Mary, and then you jump in here with some perspective. I want to give you some props. It takes a strong, confident, and courageous person to show vulnerability.
Thank you.
And emotion.
She's all
Mostly
those things.
uncontrolled.
I can tell you that. Yes.
Strong, confident, and courageous to show
thank you.
vulnerability, especially on camera,
Yeah.
in front of strangers.
That was unfortunate.
It's
happened.
okay.
I love it. It was
It
great.
shows your passion.
It shows how much you care. Mary, your thoughts on what's happening here?
So it's one of those just match made in heaven things. And I'm just going to throw out a couple of pre-Finney Yeti stories. Just so people know, Yeti actually showed up as a stray at someone's home in the Nelson County area. And this individual happened to have her own cat in the house, and this cat shows up on their porch or in their yard area, completely freaking out the house cat. But anyway, she put some food out, but it was very quickly she determined that Yeti was deaf. And it's not that unusual for white cats, especially with two different colors, genetically, with two different color. Yes, yeah.
That's what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's some sort of, there's a 60% chance, I think, of male cats with blue eyes or heterochromatic two-colored eyes of being deaf.
Yeah.
Right.
It happens. And we've had them, now and again. So she just was nervous and said, I have to get this cat out inside. He's out trying to survive on his own.
Sure.
How he ended up that way, nobody knows that part. But all right, she played the first role in getting him where he needed to be. We accepted him into Caring for Creatures, and isn't he FIV? Mm-hmm. He was FIV positive as well, which probably means he got into some altercations outside with other kitties who were infected, probably other male cats. And the situation that Mallory was describing as to where Yeti was living was in the kitchen area of one of the buildings. Off that kitchen area is a outdoor run that was built by a volunteer for whatever cats were in there, so they had a protected place to be. And I'm just going to share a story of my own that freaked me out with him, that I thought I was going to go nuts.
Oh, dear.
Thunderstorms are not my favorite thing, mostly because of some of the animals.
Yeah, freaks the animals out. My dogs get in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
It's like, why are you in the bathtub? Is it because of the hearing thing? Is it because they don't feel the vibrations as much?
Yeah, and I think they sense it because it's not always just thunder. I have a couple of dogs who pick these storms up before they're even hitting.
Yeah.
The wind has hardly started blowing yet, and they're starting to freak out. So it's the, what am I trying to say? It's the pressure.
Yeah.
The pressure.
Right.
The drop in pressure, if does it get bigger? I don't know whatever.
Yeah.
They know.
We're not meteorologists.
Exactly. Right. I won't make my money doing that. So anyway, in that building, in the office of that same building, are two dogs, one of which, Nikki, is freako about storms. And if I do not get over there to get her in a crate, she also takes meds for it, but I have to get her in a crate because she'll scale the 6-foot fence to get out and go run from the storm. So that's what I was headed over that way to get her in her crate. I had done that, just was coming out of the office, and this huge clap of thunder scared me too. And just as that happened, I see this flash of white running from between some dog pens back towards that building.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, what in the world? There's a cat out here loose.
Right.
And I'm like
freaking
out. I'd rather it be a ghost, quite frankly, than a loose cat. And we also had a white cat in our senior cat area. And I thought, oh my God, did they get out of there? Where did this cat come from? So I turn around, and of course the cat's flying 100 miles an hour. And he jumps up on the fence of his outdoor run. And I went, oh my God, that's Yeti. And so I run to go over to catch him, but by this time he's dropped down. He runs around the other side of the enclosure, and I'm freaking out. And he gets back up on the fence, trying to find a way in. And I grab him, pull him right off the fence, and get into the building and put him where he's safe. He was freaked out for about a half hour, but I don't know exactly how he got out. All I can think of is the door to his outdoor run, probably when someone was visiting, didn't get shut tight enough, and he somehow figured out how to get it open. But he didn't like the thunder. But then you think about it, and I'm yelling at him, going, oh man, he can't hear me.
So, he has no idea.
But he heard in his way that thunder.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Because he was freaking out.
Jump in here. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I've seen Finny when we've had a fire drill. He doesn't react to the flashing lights. It might have been that he felt the vibrations of the thunder.
That's what I think.
Yeah, like shaking the ground, and it freaked him out.
Yeah.
Why'd you change his name? Why this name?
I actually had a number of names for him, but I didn't think Yeti suited him. I thought of maybe Loki because of his two-colored eyes, or Bucky because I'm a big Marvel fan and I love the Winter Soldier. But I wound up choosing Finian, and it's actually a Gaelic name meaning little white one. And
That's deep.
Yeah.
Very thoughtful.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
either. I had no
I'm
idea.
big into fancy names and the meanings of them, so I just like looking into that sort of stuff.
He is like, and we show him on screen again, Harris. I mean, he is like an utterly like handsome.
Oh,
beautiful.
yes.
I mean, you don't
gorgeous.
see like
Yeah.
white cats. I mean, like it's rare, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Any idea on how the statistics? I
have
love
no
animals.
idea.
I'm around animals all the time. I mean, Mary, any thoughts on that?
I don't know how rare it is.
Is
I
it not
know,
rare?
I don't think white cats are rare
Is it
per
not?
se,
I've
but
actually
we have a
met
few.
another cat that was white with the
Heterochromia.
and deaf. So that's not even the first. He was nuts, but
Yeah.
Yeti was much nicer. And I know that we have like a reason behind Yeti's name, don't we? I heard that he was given that name because when he was a stray and they found him, he was coming up like on their property and was just meowing so loudly and like crazy that they said that I seemed like a Yeti coming out of the woods.
Yeah.
So like,
You know, I forgot
that's where
about
Yeti,
that.
Yeah, that's where
Because
Yeti came
he
from.
came
I
with
love
the name.
that.
Bigfoot?
He came with
Yeah.
the name.
Is that
Yeah.
what it is?
Yeah, yeah. So he like just looked, and I think he was like kind of up on his haunches and like coming up, and yeah, so he kind of looked like a Yeti emerging from the woods, and that's how he got his name when he was with us. He's a really cool
We didn't
cat.
have Liza the dog here. Yeti should have been on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Liza the dog, who's a Caring for
Yes.
Creatures Rescue, has
Yes.
a
I have
cat prey drive.
Yeah, so
We heard
that's nice to bring him.
because she did offer to bring it.
I did offer.
She does that. Liza's
Yeah.
only aggressive tendency is cats and squirrels.
Anything little?
I saw her chase a cat, and then the cat with
Cats and squirrels.
going around in circles.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. Judah Whitcower, one of the producers of the show, has Liza the dog, like Dave the dog. Remember Dave the dog?
Dave the dog.
Liza the
Dave
dog.
just started his heartworm treatment, by the way.
So
Love
Dave is good to go?
Dave. Love Dave.
What?
Dave is good?
He's getting there.
Okay.
He's getting
okay.
there.
I
yeah.
have to ask you, Mallory, about your firsthand experience with your special needs dog.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to get because I
Set
know
the
we'll
whole
be
stage.
back
Can we
for
mash it?
dogs.
Sure.
Should
Sure.
be okay.
Absolutely.
So, my dog
I'm so sorry.
Lucy. That's okay.
Lucy? I
Yeah,
had a dog,
Lucy.
Yeah,
Little Lou.
yeah.
Yeah, she's a
Great
black
name.
and white dog. She was Caring for Creatures dog, obviously. And I started last April. So I've been at Caring for Creatures for about a year now. And at that time, there was mass chaos going on, as there often is at Caring for Creatures. There's always something that's very exciting. But we had a litter of puppies that came down with parvo,
Okay.
gastrointestinal virus, and so they had homes, they were in their homes, and then just all these things started happening. It was not pretty or good. So we had to get them into emergency vets, and Lucy was
I
part of
remember
that
this.
litter. Lucy was part of that litter, and she was the worst of the bunch. Everyone else was responding to their treatment. Lucy was getting worse and worse. So it was really a decision between a full blood transfusion or euthanasia. We're Caring for Creatures. We're going to do everything we can before we resort to euthanasia. So blood transfusion it was. And so after the blood transfusion was successful, she was paralyzed. She couldn't walk. And the only thing that I've been told and we've been told is that it was because of the high dosage of antibiotics used on her to make her better. And so since then I started, and she was brought to us. She could only like army crawl around. And her little bed is like right next to my desk, so I'm staring at this adorable. She's freaking adorable.
She is adorable.
I mean,
And I'm not just
way
saying
too
that.
cute.
She's adorable. Like,
Yeah,
she
she
just has
is.
these eyes that bore into your soul, but she's sitting there just staring at me, and I'm like, ugh. So I go home to my husband, and
She
I'm
adopted
like,
you.
Yeah. She goes, I'm going to get her.
Yeah, she won.
yeah, she did. But I go home to my husband, and he was waiting for it. It took about 2 weeks before I go home. I'm like, I need something. We have to bring this thing home. So I was like, there's this dog. Can we just like bring her home some nights during the week? It's not going to be permanent. She has a family, all this stuff.
Famous
Well,
last
long
words.
story short, she's now ours, and she's also walking. So we got her
Awesome.
walking.
Yeah.
She's this morning actually spent 2 hours with her at hydrotherapy, laser therapy, at Animal Wellness Center in Crozet. They're fantastic over there. You know, so we're just working through it, and she's a little fighter. She's been through a lot, and she just keeps on powering
What progress
ahead.
are you seeing?
I mean, it's been, there were a lot of other things thrown into the mix. She also had some tummy issues, like dietary stuff going on, as well as skin issues. So an allergy emerged, and just a whole lot of things that kind of set back the walking. But you know, she's able to stand up on her own.
Yeah.
She kind of walks, you know, she looks like a little grandma.
Yeah.
That's kind of how she walks. Her you know, her back legs kind of point outward. But it's hard for us, I would say, because we're around her every single day, to really see like the little progress that she maybe makes on a weekly basis. But I'm told when people haven't seen her in a while that she's just looking so great and moving around better. And yeah, so she's coming along. We're hoping that with the hydrotherapy that we're going to be able to get her, you know, just more independent and more confident. She's a high anxiety dog, and I think it's really just because she lacks confidence. She knows if anything were to happen, she's not going to be able to really run away and that kind of thing. So
What do you jump in here, Mary? I mean, this is pretty amazing stuff here.
It's very amazing.
I mean, that's got to make you proud.
Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah, I can tell.
I've said this before. I think we have the greatest staff, and Mallory's just one example of that. And these people love these animals, and they work so hard for them. And in order to help them, and this is true of most rescues, your heart has to be wide open.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. And when that happens, you know, you're putting yourself out there to be hurt, to be sad, to lose them. The best way to lose them is through an adoption, because that's a happy tear. Other ways are, you know, in spite of some of our best efforts and those of our wonderful vets, sometimes it's not meant to be, or it's their time to leave. So that's hard. You know, it's hard for us to let them go. And to deal with the physical struggles that Lucy has had is unbelievable. And Mallory and Tad have just done amazing work with her. Never say never. That's one of my mottos. Never say never. Somebody is going to come for this animal or this cat, this dog. We never say never. We never give up on an animal. And until they let us know we need to give up, it's time to leave. But it's absolutely perfect in every way. And I have seen more animals that a lot of people look at and go, you're going to have that one for a number of years. And yeah, it's one of the first ones out.
I love it.
I don't know what it is, but we just put our thought out there. Your home's coming. So
Harris Tolbert,
surprised it does.
Never say never, sizzle reel right there. That was good. You are a matchmaker of animals. It reminds me of that show on Bravo, $1 Million Matchmaker with Patty.
Jeez, I've never watched it.
You know
I've never watched it.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Great show.
You can do it for cats.
Do it for cats.
I'm embarrassing myself right now. One of my, I love Bravo, and I love having it on TV right now. I'm embarrassed that I cannot believe I just said that. But it's true. It's true, and I love that show. What is it? What do you feel like, and what is like the personal gratitude? Because I feel like you probably, and I don't want to assume, but you probably are like, man, I get so much from this. It's not only a job; it's like self-gratifying.
I mean,
to be like a matchmaker of animals.
To me, it's not a job. I love going to work. I mean, I've had jobs in the past that it's seriously just to make a living.
Yeah.
And this job for me, I'm not there for the money. You know, like
Sure.
you know,
Don't tell your boss that.
Nobody is there for my money,
right?
either.
Like, she knows.
She's right there.
Yeah, like, it's just every single day I love going in there, and you know, there's of course the frustrations. There's things that happen that are frustrating and all of that. But I can go snuggle a puppy when I'm stressed out. Like it's the best stress relief, and you know it's great. But it's awesome connecting people with an animal so they can get what we get from them. And it's funny. Even this morning, I'm getting emails. I had a couple cat adoptions over the weekend, and I'm getting emails daily with photos of them, and just
Updates.
everyone's so happy about the connection and thanking me for it. And that's the best feeling in the world, to know that I'm making these relationships and these bonds for people, and just bringing like happiness and love and joy in people's lives. And oftentimes people ask me, like, when I tell them what I do, they're like, "Oh, I couldn't do that. Like, I just like, doesn't your heart break all day?" And I'm like, you know what, sometimes, yeah, it does, but I feel that these animals deserve our attachment and our love while they're with us. They deserve that. Like, there's
You're
certain
a rock
animals.
star. This is absolutely amazing listening to you speak right here. It's so like genuine and authentic. It's inspiring.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's fine. Yeah,
You're just taken aback.
Like there's certain times. We had a recent dog adoption. I really think we've spoken about him like every single episode. Levi.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That was a tough one for me. I was like crying the day before, just thinking about him leaving and all this stuff. And I was talking with a volunteer, Connie, who was on the show, talking with her about him as we were bathing him, because he was dirty, quite dirty the day before. And, we were just talking about it and how hard it was going to be. And I was like, you know what? They deserve this, though. They deserve us to be so attached that when they're leaving, we're like bawling over it, but they deserve that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're invested.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you have to be. You have to be that for them. So, because there's, especially with cats, there's so many cats that, there's Levi, oh boy, look at those ears.
It's
oh my
adorable.
gosh. So with cats, it can be challenging, because a lot of them get in there and they don't want to be near you. They're terrified.
Yeah.
And we have fantastic cat volunteers that come out and socialize them and just sit in a room, read a book, and get them used to the presence of a human, which only helps them become more adoptable. And it just does so much to get them adopted, and then we're able to bring more animals in. And for her to adopt an FIV cat and also a deaf cat, that's a hard placement, because a lot of people, like we talked about, they're not up for the challenge even though I'm sure she would say it's not at all challenging, it's the best thing that's ever happened. But that just frees up a spot for another cat in need. Our FELV and our FIV cats, we know that they're not highly adoptable cats. So when we have someone willing to take that on, it's the best thing ever. And I really, I just shout out to everyone, especially FIV cats. They're fantastic. Like I think that word's kind of scary, that they think that it comes with all these things, but really it's not as much of a challenge. So if you're looking to adopt a cat that is not very adoptable, contact us, and we can talk you through that and kind of, help you help an animal in need with that.
Well, can you put in perspective what it means and what to expect?
With the special needs, you're meaning?
Well, no, with the FIV.
With the FIV,
yeah. From the adopter's perspective.
From the adopter's perspective,
Because I'd like to learn.
it's a situation, what I feel, is something you would do for any cat that you own, and that is you're going to give them a healthy diet. You're going to take them to your veterinarian once a year for a checkup. Maybe FIV, you can do it twice a year, every 6 months, and a lower stress environment. That's on every cat's wish list as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Healthy food, low stress environment, and health checks. And then the love, of course, from the adopter. But there was a lot of fear surrounding FIV when it was first determined that it was an issue. It was a virus that was there. There was no test for it.
Right.
When I first started caring for it. There was no test for FIV. And when finally it was developed, the vet we worked with at that time, I had my first cat that tested positive, and I already had a space for leukemia kitties, but FIV was a whole new ballgame.
Sure.
And she said, you know what, Mary? You've probably had FIV cats. You just didn't know it because there was no test.
Right.
So I think it's an educational thing. FIV does not pass as easily to other cats. as leukemia. It typically passes through deep bite wounds.
Right.
And
Through fights,
gets
right?
in through fights.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so what happened, and I tell people this, all right, so my vet said, you know what, the main deal is get them spayed and neutered. Of course, we were doing that anyway. Slow introduction to the area of kitties where you were going to put the kitty. And as long as there's no fights, an FIV and a negative can coexist. And for 10 years, Caring for Creatures had FIV cats and non-FIV cats together. Anytime we had a non-FIV cat get a cold, have an issue medically, we immediately retested, and never once did we have one test positive for FIV.
That's important knowledge.
So it is important. People need to know, don't be frightened of it.
Yeah.
You know, you really...
They're some of the best cats
They
we
so-
have
they
in that
are.
room. Yeah.
They're really social and
Yeah.
friendly and just very special.
I love it. I love it. 46 minutes in. You guys have done a great
Oh,
job.
wow.
It's
Oh,
long
wow.
line here.
Awesome.
I want to
Yeah.
get anything you want to offer, any perspective, anything you want to add to the discussion?
Well, honestly, I before meeting Finian had no idea that there was such a thing as FIV.
Right.
That's
Before
how,
doing the show, I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Yeah.
It's just one of those
Yeah.
things you don't hear about. And my mother and I actually had to research to make sure that it couldn't be transferred to a dog because at the time we weren't sure
Sure.
if it would be safe for me to be with an FIV cat, Mazar Chihuahua. And when we heard that, oh, it's fine, we were really excited because I was in love with Finian.
She was.
I love it. I can tell.
Yes.
It sounds like so is Hollins University.
Yes, yes. Honestly, if it wasn't for Finian, I might have left college this past semester because it was just awful.
Yeah?
And he could tell when I was having a bad day, and he would look at me and just come right over and sit on my lap and just start letting me love on him. And he licks me, and he's just a sweetheart, and he helped me get through it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to get even better for you. I believe
Yeah.
good things happen to good people.
Yeah.
And you're a good person. I
Oh,
truly
thank
believe
you.
that. Yeah.
I have a quick question
Sure.
for her.
Yes.
What would you say was, in your experience in the adoption process at CFC, what do you feel was the most helpful aspect? Or is there something else, we could learn and
Yeah.
improve
That's a
upon?
good question.
The most helpful thing was really Mallory making up a list of cats that she thought would be good for me. That was big because
Yeah.
usually, like when I went to the SPCA just to look, I was just looking. They didn't have any recommendations for me personally, and hearing like, oh, Valerie had kittens and she's really sweet. Pumbaa is a love bug. Finian is in this room all by himself, so he'll probably do good in a dorm room. That was really helpful. That was really helpful.
Okay.
And it was also nice to just be able to sit down in the rooms and let the cats come to me
Yeah.
and see if I had any love connections with them.
Yep. Good.
And that was amazing.
I will say, not to toot my own horn, but her
please
adoption,
toot away.
I'm gonna toot it.
Come on, do it away.
I'm doing it.
I love when
But
conversations start that way.
Gabriella, this adoption was the first one, my first cat adoption, because as we've said, we have 150 cats at least,
lot of
like
cats.
usually on average at the sanctuary. It's very difficult coming in, learning all of these cats, and I'm horrendous with names, so like it's still a challenge. But Yeti, so Gabriella's mother called in to us and was
Right
telling
there?
me,
Yes,
Julia,
that's
she's
All right,
all
she's
set.
on stage
Hello.
right now.
And
You sound like an awesome person, too.
she is.
yeah,
She's
she is.
fantastic.
Yeah,
And
I see that.
she called in basically telling me that her daughter was looking for a support cat to take with her to college. And, we had a long discussion about who might be a good fit, and, new me, like I'm like new to Caring for Creatures. It's all overwhelming. There's so much going on. I was like, there's this deaf cat, Yeti, who I really think would be great for Gabriella. So the fact, like, this was kind of like the first one where it's like, I did it. Like, I did it. I did it all by myself, guys. I didn't need your help this time, So it was like a really big thing, and I was ecstatic that Yeti was the one for her, and that it's just worked out so well.
You are such a good team member. You should bring her back.
I will.
Oh my
absolutely.
gosh, so
she is coming back.
outspoken.
We're going to do dog adoptions next.
Yeah. No, so you guys
here.
rock.
Yeah.
I'm a huggy person. I love hugs.
I'm a hugging person too. If I wasn't over here, I'd be asking for a hug as well. It's such free-flowing dialogue.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Yeah.
a good dynamic. What are your thoughts? How do you want to close the show, Mary? Show's yours.
Well, there is one thing I'm going to have Mallory end with, and that's a feature cat. And we are bound and determined to get this wonderful
And we have
cat
a
home.
photo?
We do.
Okay, so Harris Tolber, we're going to get the feature cat up. Harris Tolber's our director. Judah Wickhauer and Lauren are producers. Thank you to them. Featured cat.
Yes, she actually brought her up, which maybe you've seen.
You did.
It.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw her here just now.
So there's this cat, Valerie. She's fantastic. Valerie came to us last February, and then shortly thereafter, on St. Patty's Day last year, gave birth to a litter of 4. March, Emerald, Connor, Riley, all of them got adopted out to wonderful homes. We still get updates on them. But Valerie's still at the sanctuary, and quite honestly, I don't know why. She's someone that
She's so
she's so sweet. She's someone I always recommend to people. I push her maybe too hard. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
She's so sweet.
adorable.
There she is
She's
with her
so
kittens.
precious.
And she's a little pint-sized cutie. She's kind of shaped like a football. That's what I tell people. She just will come up to you immediately when you enter the room and just want you to pay her some attention. She's so sweet and loving. She was a fantastic mother to those kittens. They were actually the first kittens that I adopted out when I first started. I really want y'all to check her out on our website, get on there, reach out to me.
Caringforcreatures.org.
Yes, caringforcreatures.org. Good job.
Follow the Facebook page.
Yes, do that.
Diane White.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the people, he knows everything. He's a
Yeah,
pro.
it's because of her. I love doing it. I actually really love this show.
And reach
fun.
out to us. I want to see several applications come through specifically for Valerie because I want to get her into a home.
Put
as soon as
Valerie up on
possible.
screen again. Let's get Valerie adopted immediately.
And
Here's
you
her
know,
if you can do that.
Valerie was pregnant, and her people, and she lived with someone down the main road from Caring for Creatures, probably 3 miles or so. And the people moved, and she was left behind outside. And a lovely neighbor who noticed that happened started feeding her, and then got in touch with us and said, "We think she's pregnant."
Good neighbor.
So we got
Yeah.
her, and indeed she was.
Yes.
Get your animals neutered and
Yeah.
spayed, please.
Yep.
Goodness
Yes,
gracious.
please. Yeah.
I mean,
Ask for help. We'll find help if you need
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Please get your animals neutered and spayed. We got someone outside watching with a flashy jacket on.
Oh, that would be my dad.
Oh, gotcha. I like that jacket. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. This has been a phenomenal show. It's truly phenomenal. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, I mean, if you guys are in a position and you're ready, you're looking for an animal to adopt, reach out to us. I'd be happy to walk you through the process. I highly recommend filling out an application before coming out to the sanctuary.
Yeah.
It just helps us figure out who might be a good fit for you.
Gives you data and a
Yeah,
baseline.
and
It's a baseline.
It does what we did for Gabriella. It lets us get a list together. We can be thoughtful. We can be efficient. We can really help you out so much better if you submit an app and then come on out and visit us. Hopefully we can find you a good kitty to make your friend.
Love the dynamic of this show. Mary?
Well, I thank Mallory, and I thank Gabriella for your openness
For their
and
courage.
your love, and what you're offering Finian for his life. And the two of you I know are best buds. I appreciate the entire CFC staff and all of you who support us. I love you. We can't do this without you, truly. And so that's where the power of 10 comes in.
Central
Power of
Virginia's
10.
first no-kill animal sanctuary, taking the most at-risk animals, the animals that are on kill lists across the eastern seaboard, and giving them another chance at life. If you can't get behind that mission, then I don't know what's wrong with you. Okay, seriously, caringforcreatures.org. Follow them on Facebook. This organization is having a serious impact in our animal community. across the Commonwealth, across the Eastern Seaboard, and they're right here in our home in Central Virginia, and we love to celebrate them. And Mary, I'm going to embarrass her. She is absolutely amazing, courageous, allocated, 30 years now and change to caring for creatures, 30 years and change to at-risk animals. Guys, caringforcreatures.org, support them, please. Gabriella Payne, you rocked it.
Thank you.
Mallory Luttrell. You're going to be back. I know that.
I will be. I'll try to keep it together next
No!
time.
No.
This is amazing.
You being real is the
I'll
best.
just like
Can I hold
ball the whole time.
Mini Finn? What do we call
Yeah,
it?
Mini Finny. Mini
Finny.
Finny.
All right. I like Mini Finny. This is adorable. He's
Yeah.
I know he helped me through. Like he's my support cat.
Mini Finny. Mini Finny right here. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I went to Ireland in January. I could not take Mr. Finney with me, so I took Mini Finny.
Well, once you saw this on the shelves, you were like, I have to buy this.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, right?
The 2 eyes. I
Yeah, where
had
did you
to.
buy this?
Barnes and Nobles.
Oh my gosh, Barnes and Noble. Well done with Mini Finny here. Here, I'll give them back to you right there. Mini Finny. I've had, the show was fun. It was fun. It always is fun. But Thursday at 3 p.m., put it on your calendar. It's the Caring for Creatures show, guys, on the I Love Seaville Network. And I think we want to wish you a fantastic afternoon. Get outside. Enjoy the day.
Enjoy your day.
Have a
Vitamin
good one,
D.
guys.
Yeah.
Great show.
Thank you.
Talking about Mary, well done today.
We did good.
Yeah.
That's free flowing.
That does fly by.
You guys are fantastic. Fantastic.
Thank you.
I think we should get the photo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I always tend to forget there's a photo.
There's a photo.